The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power will open with a time jump in Season 3, and that makes one tragic Theo theory even more likely to come true. The Rings of Power Season 2's ending raises the stakes for Middle-earth, with Sauron gaining control of the orcs and the elves withdrawing to the location that will later become Rivendell. All 19 Rings of Power outside the One Ring are created, and an Instagram post from the Amazon series official account confirms that Season 3 will chronicle Sauron's efforts to create the One Ring. The post also notes that the Rings of Power Season 3 will start with a time jump, bringing viewers forward several years from the events of Season 2. This will allow the Lord of the Rings show to throw viewers right into the thick of the action, and it will likely mean picking up with the characters being more powerful than before. Rivendell will likely be thriving, Sauron will be more threatening, and even characters like Gandalf and Ar-Pharazôn will be in different places power-wise. And Theo is also likely to grow as a leader, fueling one sad theory. The Rings of Power Season 3's time jump gives Theo time to become a true leader. He's already the Lord of Pelargir in Season 2. Arendar, Ismael Cruz Cordova, and Theo, Tyro Mohaffedin, reunite and say goodbye to the giant trees in The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power Season 2 Episode 4. Theo doesn't get a ton of screen time in The Rings of Power Season 2, but viewers do see a bit of what he's doing on the heels of Bronwyn's death. An early line from Arendar reveals that Theo is now the Lord of Pelargir, a port city that will become an important location in Gondor once it's finally founded. This leadership role isn't expanded on much in The Rings of Power Season 2, but it does set Theo up to play a more prominent part in the Southlanders' future. Combined with his friendship with Isildur, it could also make Theo an important player in Gondor's founding. Of course, Theo is still pretty young in The Rings of Power Season 2, which makes his new title somewhat surprising. Theo doesn't really have the experience to be a true leader, but that could change as The Rings of Power continues. And Season 3's time jump could mean big things for his character, setting the stage for one of The Rings of Power's best Theo theories to come true. Theo being older in The Rings of Power makes him an even bigger contender for a ring. He can become a king or lord worthy of Sauron's notice. Tyro Mohaffedin as Theo and Monster Hand in Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Popular theories posit that Theo will receive one of the Lord of the Rings' 9 rings for men, but that means he'll need to become someone important first. Sauron gives the Rings of Power to great kings and lords, and Theo receiving one can only happen if he's someone worthy of the villain's notice. It's unlikely Sauron would offer one to Theo as is. However, Theo could grow as a leader during the time jump between Seasons 2 and 3. If the show picks up with Theo wielding more power and influence, he'll be a stronger contender for a ring, and an older and more powerful Theo receiving one of the rings for men makes a major theory about his character more likely. Currently, Theo seems to be one of the characters created specifically for the Rings of Power. But many are guessing that he'll become a recognizable figure from The Lord of the Rings before the Amazon series is finished. There are several guesses about who he could be, but Theo becoming a Nazgul is among the most promising theories. Him growing up and into a leadership position makes it even more so. The Rings of Power Season 3's time skip makes Theo becoming a Nazgul more likely. If Theo evolves enough to receive a ring from Sauron after the Rings of Power's looming time jump, it confirms that he'll become one of the Nazgul during the show's later seasons. This theory emerged because of Theo's fascination with the sword hilt he found in the Rings of Power Season 1. However, there are other indicators that Theo could be attracted to the darkness. Being one of the Southlanders connects him to the men of Middle-earth who supported Morgoth. And he's shown bursts of anger throughout the series that are unsettling. If Arendar remains with the elves after the Rings of Power Season 2, Theo will also have no one to guide him in the right direction heading into the back half of the series. This could see him evolving to value and pursue the wrong things, and that could even start during the Amazon show's time jump. The Theo we see in the Rings of Power Season 3 could be much different from the one we follow in previous outings. If he gains power in the years after Season 2, it's very possible it will lead him down a dark path.